Did they just quietly upgrade one of the most important hair loss treatments we have? 37.5 hairs per square centimeter gained at 2 months and 47.3 hairs on square centimeter gained at 4 months. We haven't really improved hair loss treatments in decades. Finasteride, late 90s. Minoxidil, even older. Most new treatments are just variations of the same thing, but this is different. Minoxidil has been the gold standard for hair loss for decades. Same molecule, same mechanism, same limitations. But now there's something new being talked about. It's called VDPH-L01. And what's interesting is this. It's not a new drug, it's still minoxidil, but early data suggests it might work way better and with fewer side effects. What is the problem with minoxidil as we know it? Let's start with what most people don't realize. Minoxidil was never designed for hair loss. It was originally developed as a blood pressure medication. Hair growth was basically a side effect. And even today, whether you're using topical or oral minoxidil, you're still dealing with that same core issue. The way the drug moves through your body isn't optimized for hair, especially with oral minoxidil, which is what I take. When you take it, you get a rapid spike in blood levels, right? Followed by a drop. That spike is where a lot of the problems come from. Things like increased heart rate, fluid retention, and in some people, unwanted hair growth in other areas. And here's how fast that actually happens. Oral minoxidil reaches its peak concentration in your blood within just 1 hour and clears within 4 hours because the minoxidil we currently have on the market is normal immediate release medication. And so this gives us a very narrow window to stimulate hair growth. And with topical minoxidil, the other option we have, the situation isn't much better for a different reason. Studies show that 86% of patients discontinue topical minoxidil. Not because it doesn't work necessarily, but because the application is messy. It's really time consuming and easy to skip. So while oral minoxidil can be very effective, it's also a very blunt tool. And topical isn't much better in practice. Both have serious limitations and neither was designed with hair in mind. So who's behind VDPH-L01? The company is called Veradermics. It's a dermatologist-founded late clinical stage biopharmaceutical company. They raised 150 million Series C in October 2025. That means it's their third major investment round and it was oversubscribed, meaning investors asked to put in more money than Veradermics was even offering. That's not a small signal. That is serious money from serious people betting on this working. And importantly, this isn't a startup chasing some hot trend. The team was built specifically around dermatology, and VDPH-L01 is their lead program. Keep that in mind as we go through the science. If you're looking for a natural solution to prevent or to fight thinning hair, or you want to add something to your current stack, you should check out my ASLF Formula's Hair Growth Boost Serum with award-winning ingredient Densidil, which is made from microalgae. I'm really proud of this product and what it does. Densidil has been shown in studies to promote a 4-fold increase in hair density compared to epidermal growth factor EGF and a 2-fold increase over minoxidil, highlighting its potential for stimulating significant hair regrowth. This serum combines Densidil with Bicapil. Bicapil was found in a 3-month independent clinical study to increase hair density by 22.5% and to reduce hair loss by over 60%, demonstrating its efficacy in improving overall hair fullness and reducing shedding. Bicapil combines these guys to activate stem cells and prolong the hair growth phase, helping reduce hair loss and increase density. Rosemary leaf extract has been shown to improve scalp circulation and inhibit DHT, making it a natural alternative for promoting hair growth and reducing shedding. Licorice root extract may help soothe scalp inflammation, open up pores, and reduce hair loss by balancing hormones and improving follicle health. And ginger extract contains circulatory boosting and antioxidant properties that can help nourish hair follicles and potentially support hair growth by reducing oxidative stress. Vitamin A supports cell turnover in the scalp, which is essential for maintaining nourished hair follicles and encouraging growth. And vitamin C is a powerful antioxidant that helps protect hair follicles from free radical damage and supports collagen production as well, which is vital for hair structure and strength. I use the serum a few times per week. Super easy to apply. The consistency is just right. It's not too thin, not going to run down your forehead. and it's not oily at all. You massage it in for about a minute. I do that on days when I know that I'll wash my hair the next morning. I leave it on overnight, and then that's it. Click on the link in the description box to order a bottle or to find out more. Now let's talk about what VDPHL01 is exactly. It's not a new molecule, it's still minoxidil, but it's been reformulated into a controlled release version, which means instead of hitting your system all at once, it's released slowly over time. So instead of a big spike and rapid drop, you get a smooth, steady level in your bloodstream. And that changes a lot. The way they achieve this is through a proprietary gel matrix, a formulation designed to deliver a long-lasting, steady release of minoxidil. So your follicles are being exposed to it throughout the day, not just for a few hours. Veradermics calls this staying below the cardiac activity threshold, the blood level at which cardiovascular effects first appear. The goal is to stay high enough to grow hair, but below the level that stresses your heart. Because in pharmacology, how a drug is delivered can be just as important as the drug itself. And here's a part of the story that almost no one is talking about. There's currently no FDA-approved oral prescription treatment for women with pattern hair loss. VDPHL01 is being developed for both men and women. If it's approved, it would be the first non-hormonal oral treatment ever designed specifically for women with AGA. That's not a minor detail. For millions of women who've been told their options are limited, this could be a completely different chapter. So, what's the advantage here? There are three main things. One, fewer side effects because you're avoiding these big spikes. You may reduce the stress on the cardiovascular system, which is the main concern with oral minoxidil. Two, more consistent follicle stimulation. Hair follicles don't really benefit from spikes. They benefit from consistent signaling. So a steady exposure to minoxidil could theoretically lead to more stable growth cycles, better follicle activation, and possibly better long-term outcomes. And three, better adherence. Remember that 86% number I mentioned earlier of people discontinuing? That's what a once daily pill directly solves. You're not standing over the sink with a dropper applicator or weird foam. You take a tablet and you're done. In clinical trials, adherence is almost always better with oral medications than topical ones. And better adherence means better results for almost any treatment. Here's the early data. This is where things get interesting. Veradermics presented early phase 2 data at the European Academy of Dermatology and Venereology Congress in 2025. Here's what they found. In a blinded retrospective analysis comparing VDPHL01 to standard oral and topical minoxidil, patients on VDPHL01 averaged a rating of moderate improvement on the Investigator Global Assessment Scale. Patients on standard oral or topical minoxidil didn't even reach slight improvement on average. What does that look like on hair count specifically? That looks like 37.5 hairs per square centimeter gained at 2 months and 47.3 hairs on square centimeter gained at 4 months. And 90.5% of participants reported improved or much improved hair coverage by 4 months. 95% expressed increased satisfaction with their hair coverage after 4 months. No serious adverse events, no cardiac events. That is a very strong signal. But these are early and they are company-sponsored results. And the comparison to other minoxidil formulations used data from a separate published trial, not a true head-to-head study with the same participants. So while it's promising, it's not definitive yet. As of right now, both phase 3 trials in men have completed enrollment, over 1,000 male participants total, and a phase 2 of 3 trial in women is actively enrolling. The first late-stage trial of an oral hair therapy specifically for women. The top-line results from the first male trial are expected in the first half of 2026. Let's go. It is not FDA approved yet, and we can't get it, unfortunately. So, what's the best case timeline? If top-line data lands in 2026 and it's positive, regulatory review typically takes 6 to 18 months after that. So the realistic window for availability is late 2027 at the earliest, with 2028 being more conservative or realistic. It's not a breakthrough like SEUBE3 or PP405. It's not activating new pathways. It's not solving androgen sensitivity. But it might be a better version of something that we already know works. And that can still be a big deal. If you're dealing with hair loss, this is definitely something to keep on your radar, because the future of hair growth might not just be new molecules, it might be smarter ways of using the ones we already have. If you found this helpful, subscribe and I'll keep you updated as new data comes out, and I'll see you in the next one.